everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to Mystical Munchies featuring the Fallout official Vault Dwellers cookbook. The berry crumble as the dessert last week actually wasn't very good. It was very liquidy. It seemed like it probably needed more of the thickening agent, which we were using the cornstarch as. But this week, we're on to the drink, Deezer's Lemonade. This is one of those rare months where we have 5 Saturdays, so we need a drink. First up, let's tell the story, and it's a short one. It's important that Vault Dwellers do not forsake basic nutrition. Get your fix of vitamin C with a cold, refreshing glass of lemonade. Well, if the temperature is anything to be believed today and what it's supposed to be, a cold, refreshing glass of lemonade could be very welcome. But in order to put that recipe together, we need the ingredients that are waiting for us at the table, so let's move in that direction. In order to make this recipe, we're going to need 3 to 4 cups of water divided, 1 cup of sugar, half a cup each of blueberries and blackberries, and 1.5 cups of fresh lemon juice. Now this is prepackaged from the grocery store, so it's probably not as fresh as they want, but it's what we're going to use. With that, let's move into the kitchen and start putting this recipe together. Our first order of business is waiting for us at the stove. So we're going to start off by making a simple syrup by combining 1 cup of the water, which I've already measured off here, because reading the meniscus is a thing they teach you in high school chemistry class. At least that's where I learned it. You may learn it in some of your other science classes. And a cup of the sugar, so I've got the canister here just in shot. I've got my half cup container here because 1/2 times 2 equals 1, because multiplying fractions is also the thing they teach you, actually, I think in 3rd or 4th grade. But there's our cup of sugar, which means the sugar can go back up. And then we're going to work that in a small saucepan over medium-high heat. So I want to turn this up to about an 8. Get the right burner, Phoenix. That's the burner I want. So we're going to stir this. Yes, you're going to have my arm and shot at a weird angle. No, I can't help it. So now we want to stir this until the sugar's dissolved. Yes, I know it's a little annoying to be scraping on the bottom of the pan, but I'm trying to make sure I get all of the sugar dissolved in there. Ow! Trying to come over the top, and the range hood is kind of making it a little bit hard to do that. So let me get under the range hood. Okay. Pull it out just as carefully. Smart. But I'll be fine. Doesn't help that I was trying to put my head right on the corner of the range hood. Not the brightest thing in the world I've ever done, but hey, I've had worse episodes in the kitchen, believe me. And yes, we occasionally need some comedy moments on Mystical Munchies, too. Alright, so I think we've got the sugar pretty well dissolved in there now. I'm just making sure, I think I got the right burner turned on here. But I'm not putting my hands on the burner to check, because that seems like a very dumb thing to do. Yeah, feels like we got the right burner. So now now that the sugar's been dissolved, we want to wait for that to come to a boil. Then we're going to reduce the heat to low and simmer for 5 minutes. Obviously, it's not going to be the most exciting episode of Mystical Munchies, but you guys know that when I have a boil or a bake like this that is probably pivotal to the recipe, I like to do it in real time because it gives me less of a chance of screwing the recipe up. Notice that I said I don't screw the recipe up, that I won't screw the recipe up doing it in real time, because you just never know what can happen in the kitchen when you're making a recipe, but it is definitely less of a chance to screw the recipe up. So that's why we're going to watch this in real time. But what I can do is talk to you guys a little bit about the 1991 playoffs and payoff pitch baseball that I've been working on and how that's going. That's actually been going very well, and we'll have a lot more on that during Pinot with Phoenix, which I'm expecting to be tomorrow after tomorrow's game in the NLCS, Game 2, between the Pirates and the Dodgers. Pittsburgh leads that series 1-0. The Pirates are looking to go across the country with a 2-0 lead. Dodgers would like to go over with the 1-1 split. Looks like things are starting to boil pretty quick in here, but we've also got it over fairly high heat, so that should be helpful. I'm going to start moving some other stuff that I need for the next step of the recipe into the kitchen. I definitely want to let it come to more of a rolling boil, although it's starting to get where I want it to be. Okay. Actually, I think we're probably about near where I want it to be. But once again, you guys know my philosophy when I'm doing anything in the kitchen. I don't like bringing the camera down over the top because it's usually going to end badly if I bring the camera down over the top. It's probably a little bit better if I'm just boiling water like this, but I use oil a lot in here as well, so I don't like to get the camera anywhere near boiling, well, anything really, if I'm being honest. So it looks like the water is at a boil, so I'm going to bring the heat down to low and let it simmer for 5 minutes. So we are going to watch the simmer in real time. Like I said, I know this is going to make for a boring episode of Mystical Munchies, but I'm kind of rambling on that front. So any background noise you might hear, or if you see anything weird pop into shot, it's just me preparing for the next step of the recipe coming up. I'm just trying to keep things. I'm on a little bit of a tight schedule, but it's not terrible today. I'm just trying to keep things. I'm trying to keep things moving as much as I can today. Because I do have group game day coming up later today, and I do want to try to make a couple stops before I get up to the game store for that. So I do want to try to keep things moving as much as possible here. I'm going to get the spoon rest moved over a little bit closer, so I'm not near the back of the blender as much. Because yes, the next part of the recipe is going to need the blender, so I'm bringing that over toward the shot. I'm trying to keep it out of shot though. That could be I was going to say a tough pour, but I think it'll be fine. But I'll definitely be doing that pour in the sink. Okay. Trying to make sure the sugar doesn't do anything crazy, like suddenly come out of the water, but I don't think it will. Okay. There we are. Okay, we are letting that simmer. Got about another little more than 2 minutes left on the simmer. Okay. Okay, definitely at simmer temperature. We've got about 1.5 minutes left on that now. What speed am I going to want this to be at? Okay. Like I said, I'm just making sure everything here is ready to go so I can keep things moving along fairly quickly. Okay. Simmer should be just about done on the syrup. Got a little over 30 seconds left on that now. Right, that should be going off here very shortly. Okay, just felt the timer on my Apple Watch buzz, so we're going to take that off. We're going to pull it off the heat and let it cool. But in the meantime, while we let the syrup cool, we're going to move over to the counter for the next step. I was also giving the blender a quick sound check just to make sure everything isn't going to be too loud. It shouldn't be too much, but you might want to take off any headphones you're wearing just to be on the safe side. So next we're going to take the blueberries and the blackberries, which I've got right here, and we're going to blend them. We're going to blend them until liquefied in our blender. So we'll take the blueberries. And the blackberries. Once I get the container off, here we are. Got a couple of leaves here I need to take out. Okay. And then because I don't particularly like blueberry or blackberry juice going everywhere, we're going to put the lid on the blender. And now here's your 5-second warning before I start the blender. Like I said, it's not too loud because I just gave it a quick sound check, but in case you are wearing headphones, maybe play it safe and take your headphones off. So we're going to blend this until liquefied. But anyway, 5-second warning. All right. It now needs a little bit of time as it's got stuff in there. Come on. Come on, blender, you can do it. And now we got some movement. Well, let's turn it up. There we go. Okay, a little louder than I thought it would be, but at least once you got stuff in there. Okay, let me give it a quick look just to see if there's any... I'm just going to give it a quick look inside just to see if there's anything... Maybe one more pulse just to be on the safe side. Okay, that should be fine. Now we'll hit it one more time just to be completely on the safe side, but I'm pretty sure we've got it all liquefied at this point. I think we're all set there. So, with that in mind, now we can move over to the sink for the next step. It's not very often we move over to the sink, but when there's a pour involved, I usually try to do it over the sink. I'm going to scrape a little bit of sides. I'm going to scrape the sides off of the blender bottle, or whatever you want to call it, just to get just to make sure more of the juice just to make sure more of the juice gets included in the lemonade. So now we're going to pour it, and this is going to be an awkward angle to do this, but we're going to pour it through a mesh strainer to remove any seeds and any other residue that we might have in there. So let me move that out of the way, and then easy does it. Now, okay, that's not, shoot. Okay, plan B. We're going to do this, we're going to add one more thing to maybe make this go a little bit smoother. I'm going to put a funnel on there. This is going to be a very boring and probably messy part of Mystical Munchies, watching this strain out. Let me see if I can get this set down somewhat smooth. Alright, rather than bore you guys, I think you get the idea what I'm going for. So, rather than bore you guys with this pour, I'm going to shut the camera off so I can do this, and then we'll come back when we're ready for the next step. The pour got a little bit messy there, but that's the reason why pouring in the sink is a really smart thing to do. The funnel that we used is still a little bit on the messy side as well, but we're going to help that out a little bit, as now we put the rest of it together. So we're going to add the syrup, which I've got right here. The 1.5 cups of lemon juice, which I'm going to cobble together here. And I've got my 1.5 cup measuring cup off to the side, which I'm also going to measure this over the sink. Because once again, we like containing messes here at Mystical, here on the channel. I really do not want to try to pour through this little spigot, but I might not have a choice. Well, let's see if I can make this go. Oh, it's a squeeze container, so that'll make it go at least a little bit faster, I think. Okay. We still need a little bit more, which I kind of expected we would. This part of the pour... What the? Okay, that's a little weird. Wasn't expecting that color of lemon juice, but I can probably work with it. I'm going to pour in a little bit more since some splashed out. Okay. All right. That can go in the fridge. And now we're going to start off with 2 cups of water. Shut that off for a second so I can check the meniscus. Settle down. Might be a touch, just a touch under, I think, so we'll add a little bit more. That will do. And they suggest adjusting it to taste. But since I don't mind my lemonade being a little bit on the stronger side, we're probably going to go with this. This might not have been perfect, but I think we got most of the seeds out of there, so we're going to give this a mix up. Okay. That should be good, so now I'll put the lid on that. Perfect. So there's our finished product of the lemonade. I'll pour a glass. Actually, let me see if I can shake some of this ingredient stuff off of there. Looks like we've got some seeds still in there since I don't know if the strainer was necessarily fine. It was necessarily maybe a little bit too... Maybe it wasn't fine enough to catch all of the seeds in there, but I think we got most of them out. Anyway, we're going to pour a little bit of the lemonade off, and then I'll meet you guys over at my desk for the taste test. I do have a pair of drinks here. I've got my Crystal Light over here, which I normally drink, and the Deezer's lemonade, which I just made for this taste test. So let's give this a drink and see what I think of it. Definitely was still noticing some seeds in there, even as I was going through. Definitely noticed some seeds as I took my first sip. So yes, you will need to make sure you get a fine enough strainer to get all the seeds out of there. But otherwise, it tasted pretty good. It didn't come out, at least to me, being as strong where I thought I needed the extra cup of water that I could have used to maybe dilute it a little bit more. But it's a fairly easy lemonade recipe. But again, make sure you get a fine enough strainer that you can get all the seeds out. That's another episode of Mystical Munchies in the books, and the last one for the month. Next week we'll be into a new cookbook, but I'll have more on that during Pinot with Phoenix tomorrow. Busy week coming up on the channel, especially on the game front. Later today we're going to have Game 2 of the ALCS in my 1991 payoff pitch baseball replay as the Kansas City Royals play the Oakland Athletics in Game 2 at Oakland Alameda Coliseum. Oakland currently leads that series 1-0. Tomorrow on that front, tomorrow afternoon, the Pittsburgh Pirates will be hosting the Los Angeles Dodgers in Game 2 of the NLCS. The Pirates lead that series 1-0. Tomorrow morning we're going to be playing Mag 23 Guadalcanal from Historic Wings on a Sunday video, and Wednesday we'll be starting off Space Month with a game of Star Realms. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.